Welcome to the ABC Business Network. My name is Turan, Mirza, and I'm the chair of the ABC Business Network. And today we're talking with John McKenna. I'm going to introduce him. The idea of these videos is that we find out a bit more about the members within the network so that you can understand that they're a friendly bunch and worth working with, and maybe you can help them and they can help you in business as well. So today I have, as I said, John McKenna. He's the owner of JMK Consultancy. He's a commercial business development specialist. The key things he delivers for companies are market research, lead generation, and business development. But rather than me telling you any more about that stuff, I'll let John tell you all about himself and all about his business. So let's start off, John. Thanks very much for coming here today. Tell me a bit about your background. Let's go with before JMK Consultancy was created. Tell me a bit about yourself and how you got to that point of starting up the company.
Okay. First of all, thanks, Turan, for having me on, and for the ABC Business Network for asking me to join and be here today, especially. Personally, John McKenna, I come to today with 25 years experience of dealing in various sales and commercial development positions around the world, really, 3 different continents, about 20 different countries, but most importantly here in Ireland, north and south, and across the water in GB.
Excellent stuff. So how do we get to JMK Consultancy being created? Why did you start up your own company? Tell me about that.
Okay. So part of that journey, and it started, I guess, as I say, 25 years ago, one-way ticket to deepest, darkest France in sales, and that's how sales often starts. If you make enough money, you can get yourself home. If you don't, it's a long walk. But through the university of life and all that you learn in holding various sales positions and working with sales teams and managing teams and setting our own plans and our own strategies, you pick up a lot of information, guidance, a lot of I guess experience. That led me to work for several different blue chip companies, Caterpillar, Speedy Hire, and for some local companies, both here in Ireland and down south. But ultimately, I suppose 10 years ago, we came back from Australia, and I did a couple of years at the crash time of consulting then, because things had dried up for work-wise, I suppose, and some of my contacts said, would you come and give us a bit of a hand here and help us there? And so I worked with some MDs, I worked with some sales teams, and then I got engaged by Caterpillar again. But more recently, and sometimes this happens as a blessing, we avoided a couple of rounds of redundancies, but eventually it caught up with me, and it's tough at the time, but sometimes that can be the best thing for you. It forces you to do probably what you should have done a while before that. And so that was the birth of JMK Consulting.
Excellent. So now we're up to speed with where you are in the current business. Tell us a bit about your business. What do you do, and how can you help businesses with your consultancy?
Okay, lovely. So we've already mentioned, to summarize it very simply, I mean, there's a wide variety of commercial guidance and planning and development there, but very simply, it summarizes down into the market research, developing customer bases, and doing deals, like winning customers. So how that fills out is, typically I review and I analyze people's customer bases. We all need customers. That's what pays us our bread. And customers do need companies to provide solutions. So looking into customer bases, who are your best customers? Who are you doing business with? Who's paying you well? Who's making profit for you? And potentially who's not making profit for you? So that helps us to say, particularly nowadays in the challenging COVID times, where should I be spending my time? Who should I be spending my time with? So that leads on to the second section then, which is the developing the customer bases. So first part of that is agreeing the direction. Have we got too much of our custom in one area? And for strategic reasons, for spread of risk, should we be spreading our customers into different areas so that different trends, different movements will affect us less, and as a company will be stronger in the long run? So that's about customers. Where are they now, and where should they be, and making some plans to get into those other sectors or other geographies. And so we have a plan then to work on. And the third section, so we've reviewed and analysed our customers. We've agreed the direction that we want to go for the future of the business. And the third thing then is putting it into action. This is the results section. And again, sometimes I'm only involved in the first section or the first and second, but quite often having 20 years experience of going and as somebody said to me once, eyeballing customers. I enjoy bringing solutions to customers. If it's a good company, and that's, we're trying to find a connection. We're trying to make sure that we understand each other and we get each other. And if we do, then we're more likely to engage each other. I'm very happy to then go to these customers that we've talked about and say, right, this is a company, this is what they provide. You have a challenge or an issue. Can we break this further? So you're developing relationships. You're eventually winning over customers, and those are the results that make the difference on the profit and loss on the balance sheet.
Excellent. And again, you've mentioned that sometimes within those three focused areas, you can sometimes just do one section or the other. But even within any individual one, I'd be sitting there thinking, wow, it might take a year, 2 years to cover that sort of information. How long does does it take to really cover your services?
It will vary quite a lot, depending on the company and at what stage they're at. One of the key things for us to know and to understand best where we're making money and where we're not is the data that's available on our customers and our products. And if we have that data, then great, that we're already halfway there. So basically grouping that in and then just finding out, right, this is the overview of our business and of our customers. I'm a big fan of trying to keep things as simple as possible. I'm not a big fan of big, long, wordy documents. If I can get it in one page, all the better for me and for most of the customers as well. So if I can summarize it into that section and say, right, this is where our business is, this is the next section then, this is where we might want to bring it in terms of profitability, in terms of strategy, in terms of diversification, in terms of lowering risk, in terms of going after new opportunity. And that becomes the plan. But those two areas there will depend, one, on the amount of information that's already available. And if it's not, then we've got to look into it. And we've got to engage our accountants. We've got to engage our people that are our sales, or whoever deals with customers at the moment. We all have some kind of figures and it's analysing that and saying, how much does it tell us now? What would we like to get? And then if that's a journey we can make, then let's do that. Time-wise, you've asked, sometimes this can be done, like Investment and Earn, for example, has a program and it covers, say, 20 days of work. So they help with some of the funds, and I know we may come to that later. But in 20 days, if you have the data, you can make up a lot of analysis, discuss that, and agree where we want to go in future. Can also then say, right, there you go, that's the project. We've arrived at and have achieved what we set out to do. Now you go ahead and do it. Or, Mr. Customer, if you don't have the resource or you don't have the time just at the moment, then we can start a new project and we can work on that, and I can engage, I can work with you on planning that, or sorry, putting that plan into practice and carrying that out.
Excellent. So it really is a piece of string type situation, and everyone's requirements are going to be custom to that there. You mentioned about funding being available to the likes of FS Northern Ireland. And I know you work way and beyond Northern Ireland. You provide a global service, but if someone has funding requirements or funding capabilities, can you help them with that funding?
Yeah, I mean, certainly knowledge of that funding is the first thing, and particularly at the moment now, we've always had enterprise agencies, inward investment departments to try and develop companies, particularly Indigenous companies, particularly the SME sector. At the moment, they're going crazy to try and help people. We all know about the support mechanisms right there, but we also know that in your everyday job, you've got a million and one things to do, and what's the most priority? And this might be something that you need to do, but you don't have time to do. So yes, I can help in sourcing that and completing that. You may have to finish it yourself, but I'll definitely find that for you and help you gain that funding to help. I mean, very, very simply, sometimes people need a little bit of encouragement to engage somebody like myself, but I'm very much involved in a results-based business. So it should, and it does, pay for itself, and it's very demonstrable. People that we were with recently there, for example, one of the most recent customers, we added £500,000 onto their bottom line by turning the business around and focusing on the areas that they were best at, and trying to get our concentration away from areas that were taking up a lot of time and not giving us the result that we needed. So that obviously shows that, I mean, it's beneficial to the company. It makes the company not just in the short term more profitable, but it makes them more stable. You invest more into your employees, you're able to have a better Christmas party, you're able to do more training, you're able to provide better support services for the customer. So whenever the customer needs you, not a problem, Mr. Customer, we have a great relationship, I've got your back, I'm on it day or night, whatever it is, and I've been investing in all that. So I think it's very important for the long term of company stability that we do look at where profit's coming from and trying to maximize that, not just for the company and all the stakeholders involved in it, but also for the customer base, because they want you to be there this year, next year, to support them in their growth plans too.
That's, I mean, again, I love that anecdote because it makes it real. It makes it, it shows the way you're working with real customers. But I have to say, you know, in what you're doing, you must have some nerve to actually turn around to a client and say, you're not doing things the right way. You know, you're talking to your customers wrong. That must be a key skill in itself.
Not really, Turan. I don't mean to contradict, but you know, I'm about affecting change, and you know, there are so many things in this world that we can do something about. For us to you know, for us to spend any time on the things we can affect it, whether, you know, we have limited effect on the bug at the moment. What we can do is how we deal with it and how we look after ourselves. So, you know, we have an onus on ourselves to spend time on the things that we can affect change on and with. And, you know, it would be, you know, as I say, I'm about affecting change. So if I engage with a customer, we talk about the challenges, we look into it, we come up with the answers. You know, I want it to make the change. We've got to be aware of it first of all. So I gotta discuss this. And sometimes it's difficult to say. It may be historical. It may be a pet customer or a pet issue within a company. But at the end of the day, if we're really to make a change, we've got to grasp that nettle. And you know, that's something that we do with customers. It's something that we do with internals in the company, the MD, the board, the executive team. Sometimes that executive team is 3 people, but we got to be honest and we got to be frank with each other, and that's what I ask of a company, and that's what I hope that they expect back from me. They expect honest answers. They expect, and no matter how hard hitting it is, there's a nice way of putting it. We do have to get on. We do have to communicate with each other. But we have some great stories here in Indigenous companies that just need to get it out to the world a bit more and get to the markets, and that's, we're doing ourselves an inservice and injustice by not doing that.
Yeah. So tell me, John, what sort of size of companies do you work with?
So I mean, I have experience of working with blue chip companies, with PLCs, with Terex and Caterpillars we talked about. But you know, I love dealing with SMEs as well, and we have, as I say, we have some great stories here to tell, and we just need to tell them a bit more, a bit better. You know, so probably, you know, it's business to business. Typically, a lot of my experience has been in the industrial end, or contracting, or energy end, or engineering. But you know, I find that with those companies, I was dealing with, you know, a wide variety of sectors, and so I'm happy to talk to probably companies 10-person up, SMEs, you know. So, but listen, if it's not the right match for me, and you reach out to me, I've got a network as well, and I can hopefully try and point somebody in your direction. Perfect. And it's about getting a solution for you at the end of the day.
Good stuff. Now, obviously, we've talked about the business. I understand, again, you do some charity work, some community work, and I believe there's a run coming up in August. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, it's very kind of you to sign up to that run, Turan, or that walk, sorry. I mean, listen, again, affecting change. We're the fortunate ones in this part of the world, and just through postcode lottery, other people in other parts of the world didn't get the opportunities that we did. So we've got to make the best use of the opportunities we get, and we want to share a wee bit of that with some others less fortunate. So my personal cause is called Mary's Meals. It's a very, very simple solution to world hunger. Feeding children at school. So we buy a small bit of food, typically locally, support the local farmers, and then the parents and grandparents, they typically cook it and administer it. It's their project, it's not ours. As a result, it gets the child to school, they get food in the short term and education in the longer term, and that gets them out of the situation. Yeah. So it's a very, very low frills, low cost, 93p in every pound, 93 cents in every euro goes straight to the charitable activities. And as a result, we can feed a child for £15.90 for a whole school year. Excellent. So one of our big events, as you say, is a sponsored walk. We're starting in the north. We're starting in Belfast, in the northwest, in Armagh and in Turan, and in Fermanagh, sorry. And we are walking to Mayo. So you're more than welcome to join us. And any information can be found at marysmeals.org.
Super stuff, super stuff. And again, moving back to business, just to finish off, really, how do you work? If the minute I pick up the phone and start chatting to you, are you going to start billing me by the hour, or do you offer a sort of introductory consultation stuff?
Yeah, listen, we're in a part of the world where we like to connect, and the first thing that's going to either help us to work together or not is whether we can connect, whether we can relate to each other. So, and that's very much just a case of reaching out. I'm on LinkedIn under John McKenna or JMK Consulting. There's a phone number and an email address there. I'm very happy to have a coffee or a virtual coffee or whatever we call it these days. I'm very much about the person, looking somebody in the eye and having a chat around some of the challenges. Sometimes it's only just a simple referral to somebody. Sometimes it's a connection or two that you need, or a customer that you need to put in touch with. And listen, there's no cost to having a chat. Right. If we can develop something further, if we can make a plan to do some work together, then let's see if we can get you some funding. Let's see what you have available yourself. Let's see what size of task you need to be done, and before there's a cost to it, we would agree that. So, but it always starts with just reaching out and having a chat to start.
Indeed, and I'll put the details, the contact details, your contact details in the description box of this video for anybody watching, and they can just hopefully click on the link in the description section below. So I was going to ask you, how do we get in touch? You've already covered that in the last answer. So LinkedIn is the main way. So John, is there anything else you want to say before we call this to a close?
Just join the ABC Business Network if you can. It's a very. I
didn't even queue him up to say that
one. We are a connected nation, whether you call it locally here or internationally in Europe. And those connections is what makes the world go round. So, and let's make it a lot easier for each other. Let's make it a bit more fun, and let's enjoy doing and affecting that change. So happy to talk to anybody. Just pick up a phone or email and reach out to me.
Listen, it's been great talking to you, John. I know whoever picks up the phone, whoever clicks on the contact details and gets in touch with it, they'll really enjoy chatting with you as well. So thanks very much for this interview today, and thanks very much. Goodbye.
Looking forward. Great. Lovely.